The first time I heard the name, it sounded like a campfire rumor. The Bennington Triangle, people said, where the forest swallowed people. It was a stretch of backcountry roads and old trails that didn't feel cruel until you learned it had taken a handful of ordinary lives between 1945 and 1950. The dates don't make the place any less eerie. They make it feel like a sentence. The first vanish was the sort of thing you'd expect the woods to swallow. A seasoned hunter who slipped ahead of his group and never came back. Folks said he knew every trail like the lines of his hand. One minute he was there. The next, the air felt flatter, as if the forest had closed its mouth. That hunter was Middie Rivers, and the strange pattern of disappearances had begun. Then there was the college girl who left campus for a walk and never made it back. People still talk about her red coat, about how ordinary the afternoon looked. Students hustling, a bus rolling by, a stretch of trail that led into the hills. She vanished on a trail that was supposed to be safe. The search for her drew the town out into the woods by the hundreds. Her name was Paula Jean Welden, a student from Bennington College. Another case involved an elderly veteran who boarded a bus and simply vanished. People remember the oddness most: a seat left empty, a ticket folded on a cushion, a man who was there one moment and gone the next. The bus went on. Someone noticed later that a passenger had never reached his destination. That passenger was James Tedford. Then a little boy wandered away from a family truck while his mother tended chores, and he was gone. They used bloodhounds, combed the hedgerows, searched the long empty trails nearby. The dogs led into the trees and then stopped. No footprints, no bells, no answer. The boy's name was Paul Jepson. 2 weeks after the boy disappeared, a middle-aged woman left a campsite to fetch dry clothes and vanished into the trees. Months later, when the spring thaw came, hikers found what remained, a single quiet clue that confirmed that not all of these disappearances were just legends of people getting lost. Her name was Frida Langer. The pattern is the worst part. Different ages, different days, different reasons for being there. Hunters, students, veterans, children, hikers. Ordinary people who walked into those hills near Glastenbury Mountain and slipped out of history. The town's maps stayed the same. But after those years, people looked at the trails differently, like pages in a book that had been partially erased. There were searches, hundreds of volunteers, police officers, horseback teams, bloodhounds, even aircraft. People tore through the hills until their boots froze in the winter mud. They found nothing that explained why the forest had taken some people and spared others. The failure of those searches is what slowly turned ordinary concern into superstition. Stories started to grow where facts stopped. People spoke about strange lights moving through the trees at night. Others mentioned strange animal sounds echoing through the mountains. Eventually, someone gave the area a name, the Bennington Triangle, a piece of geometry used to describe a place that didn't seem to follow normal rules. But the facts themselves remained stubborn. Some investigators believe the disappearances were tragic accidents in dangerous wilderness. Others think crimes may have happened that were never solved. And some leads simply vanished over time, buried by distance and the limited investigative tools of the 1940s. What stays with people, though, are not the theories. It's the faces behind the stories. A young woman in a red coat, a veteran riding quietly on a bus, a child playing near his family's truck. Ordinary people living ordinary moments before something interrupted them forever. And that's what makes the mystery linger. Because if you visit southern Vermont today, the forests still look peaceful. Hikers still follow the same trails through the mountains. Streams still run through the same valleys. But sometimes, when the fog sits low in the trees and the woods fall quiet, you can understand why the stories never disappeared. Some places keep their secrets, and sometimes the woods simply decide not to give someone back